Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trail number 428. Hopefully our last one before the new cards come out. It's always a struggle for Expedition when the new cards come out because the trials don't reset until the following day. And so as this video comes out on the 8th, the new cards should come out, but then the weekly stuff doesn't resell until the 9th. And so you can still come out here and do all the free open play trials that we want, but there's a 20-minute timer between the start of the draft, and so I don't have all day to sit around and reset the timers, just hoping to hit one of the new champions. And so, if all goes well, on the 9th, we'll have a video for you with either Jace or hoping Jace makes his way in, or the likes of Rumble, one of the new ones. Hopefully, we can make something happen with that. But if not, we might have to wait until the Friday video to get the first trial of the new set out there. But nonetheless, let's jump in here. We'll have a good time with the cards we have available to us now and see what we can do. Okay, well, with these, I'm just gonna draft this Twisted Fate. I do know that our first Runeterra draft of our kind of return to Runeterra over on Twitch was a Fluffed and Tuft Braum. Took that one to a nice 7 winner, and then I know we've drafted Quinn recently. It wasn't a scouted out Quinn; it was a Relentless Quinn, but they're both extremely similar in what they're trying to pull off. And so let's make our way down here to this first of the draw, Twisted Fate, and we can get him pulled up to the site and talk about him a little bit more. At least as far as the opening cards go, you could kind of take this either way. Right, you do have the Twisted Fate Petty Officer combo to where you can generate the Powder Keg and then AoE your opponent's board with the red card, and then we also have some of the more plunder-centric allegiance style cards here in the Yordle Grifter, having this guy that generates the warning shot, then using the warning shot to activate your plunder type abilities. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We'll get this pulled up on the site. If you're not familiar with it, we're just over at ftpbus.com. That's where I keep all of my expedition related content. We're just going to be on the main page here or the expedition helper button, however you'd like to find your way here. We'll make our way to the little drop down box and find this Twisted Fate and take a peek at what we're working with. And so yeah, the first of the draw, Twisted Fate, he's the only champion in this archetype, and it's got two things going for it here. It's either looking to be a Sea Monsters deck, to where, as if we're, say, playing Nautilus, we're going to try and toss a bunch of cards out of our deck to hit deep as fast as we can. Twisted Fate likes to go out and hit deep by just drawing a bunch of cards. And so Twisted Fate can blue card to draw a card, and then you have things like Fortune Croaker and Pull Shark. The salvages live here. You got lots of options to come and try and churn through your deck quickly. And then the big payoff for that would be the Jaw Hunters. You don't actually have to play sea monsters in your deck to try and take advantage of them. You can just play the Jaw Hunters, generate some sea monsters, just draw a whole bunch of cards, and try and pop off that way. Otherwise, the other things going on here, this has a lot of the uh, just card draw abilities in it in general. You can try to build a deck around quickly leveling up your Twisted Fate, and then as kind of your fallback option, you have things like Slotbot to get some bonuses for every card that you've drawn. And then last but not least, you would have access to the really aggressive plunder style decks. And so you'll be looking to use the likes of, trying to see who actually lives here. The good plunder bros don't live here. Your Crackshot Corsair and your the 1/1 fearsome elusive guy don't live in this archetype, but you do have lots of ways to just deal damage to face, like with Twisted Fate or with the warning shots, and then you can use those to activate the plunders to be drawing cards with the likes of pilfered goods. And so we'll see what comes out of this. Twisted Fate is one of these really nice champions in terms of he's reasonable enough to build around. Everyone likes drawing cards. Drawing cards is good. He's very utility heavy. His abilities are all strong, so you're never upset to have multiple copies of him. But in that kind of same vein, with his utility being so high, he just fits in literally any deck. And so if something more appealing shows up here in the second pack, then Twisted Fate is still a pretty reasonable addition to whatever deck we would draft. Okay, so lots of power here. The Frozen Solid Ash, I think, is actually the worst of these. She's just not. I mean, she's strong, but she's not going to be doing things that really pair well with Twisted Fate. She's just very heavily looking to take advantage of these Frostbite themes, and we're kind of like missing out with this Ash, right? If we're looking to use Yordle Grifter, we're going to want to be Bilgewater heavy, and then otherwise she doesn't have any damage-based abilities to take advantage of powder kegs, and so I guess you could play a powder keg and then do a 5 damage shatter, but that sounds pretty horrifically bad. And so to move forward, I don't like any of this stuff with the Twisted Fate decks we can pull off. Just like the sea monsters aren't going to happen without the Shadow Isles, and then I don't really like building Bilgewater allegiances. I think Bilgewater's the worst faction in the game. And so I'm just kind of looking at this Riven now. The Zed, I think, is in a vacuum stronger than Riven, but the cards paired up here with Zed aren't very good. And I'm not excited about the Riven, or I'm not excited about trying to pair these Bilgewater cards into an elusives deck. I mean, I guess we could look to say that we have some combos here. Like, Zed is going to look to build towards a Green Glade duo deck, and we could use things like Petty Officer to generate 2 units, or we could try and find things like Double Trouble to generate 2 units, but that just sounds shitty, right? That does it's a strategy, and there's some synergies there, but that just doesn't sound very good. And so I'm going to come back to this Riven. Just one of the more powerful archetypes in the game in this Relic Trackers. Another really positive thing with Riven is that she has 4 archetypes in the game. And so we can pull her up and talk about this a little bit more as we see where we at. Riven. See, there's 4 versions of her, right? Arachnophilia, Augmented Assault, Blades and Buffs, and Relic Trackers. And so the thing that we're going to be looking to do here with Riven is say, okay, we really want to focus on Reforge. We want to pick up all the Reforge cards we can. So there's, Blade Squire, Rune Weaver, and Weapon Hilt is the big ones. And so, as we're going through the draft and we're going to see our synergy picks showing up, we're going to see a Relic Trackers Riven, and then we're going to see a first of the draw Twisted Fate. And then this last one down here, we're hoping it lands in Noxus. And, if there's 12 Noxus archetypes remaining, and 3 of them are the Riven archetypes, ignoring things like cohesiveness bonuses, then, we just have a much bigger chance of hitting those Riven archetypes than we would any other champion. And so, if we're just going to go back to saying that there's 12 of them, we have a 25% chance to hit Riven, whereas, any of the other champions, say we're wanting to hit Darius is a bad example. There's only one Draven now, right? If we were looking for the Draven archetype, we would only have a 1 in 12 chance of hitting that. And so she just has like a ton of consistency built into her because for whatever reason, Riot felt like there was a reason to have 4 Riven archetypes, and they felt the need to take Draven out of Arachnophilia. And so that will be the big thing, trying to find these Reforges. We're not going to find too many ways to take like double advantage of them. We really like with Reforge to have like discard effects or have augment or something. We're not going to find any of that. There's none of that in Bilgewater, but it's powerful enough on its own to be happy enough about. Then the other big thing with these Riven archetypes is going to be how do we best take advantage of Trifarian Glory Seeker. We're going to really look to stack these up and give them quick attack as frequently as we can. This is one of the more powerful openings that the Noxus decks are able to take advantage of. And so these Riven decks kind of have it all. They have the really good early game in the Reforges. They have the really good late game and things like Armored Tusk Raider. They have a pretty good mid game with cards like Riven and Iron Ballista. They have the removal that you would want in Whirling Death. They just kind of have everything all in this neat and nice card pool with a bunch of archetypes that you can find them in. And so pretty good start with Riven. The Glory Seeker Weapon Hilt's a decent enough start. And this is the stuff right here. This is what everyone wants to see. A Blade Squire Runeweaver start looking pretty powerful. So, just even some of the things here with Twisted Fate is like, say, we start Blade Squire Runeweaver, don't get to play any of the Reforges, but we come down and we start attacking. Our opponent trades with our Runeweaver, and then they get a 3/3 to block our Blade Squire. We can still just play Twisted Fate to clean up the board. Like, he's just so useful in all of these scenarios as to where if we build this really aggressive deck, our opponent starts to play better units. They get a bunch of value blocks to leave a bunch of 1 health units, and you're just like, boom, here's some Twisted Fate to clear out the board. So quite powerful that he's able to do things like that. Okay, so with this, these Bilgewater cards are just super low quality. If we're playing Gangplank, you can make an argument for it, so you can try to deal damage to your opponent on their turn. So if you don't have the attack token, you can still get level ups on your Gangplank, but nothing we're doing here would suggest that we want either of these cards. And so this pack, really kind of sucks for us. We don't want to be picking up Shurima. I mean, I guess I could see an argument for picking up Shurima, but the big reason to be in Shurima would be action, and we just don't need action here. We've got a very strong Noxus start. And so Grave Physician, of course, very good. This does give us, again, some usages out of our Reforges, and so if we aren't just going for the swords, or if we have an extra one or whatever, we can discard it to Grave Physician and draw a unit. We are getting the Reborn Grenadier, which is a turd, but again, we have some combos for these discard abilities in our Reforges here. Okay, kind of the same deal. I'm not opposed to just having this Glory and Value show up every time. It's a pretty powerful card pool with Scion. There's a lot of the good late game overwhelms live in this archetype, and so this looks fine to me. The Noble Rebel is okay, and again, we should be having plenty of cards to discard with the Reforges. The second Reborn Grenadier kind of sucks, but I like where that's heading. Okay, another good one here. This will be our last chance to branch out into Shurima. If you're not familiar, you're locked into your factions after pick 6. And so don't really feel the need to jump into Shurima. We should be able to find reasonable enough late game in Noxus. We're getting a Rune Weaver out of the Arachnophilia set. And then again, these Bilgewater cards are just trash. Okay, looking good. So which one are you, Lady of Blood? I'm not familiar with this epic. When a non-fleeting ally in hand is discarded, create a fleeting copy of it in hand. So when a non-fleeting ally is discarded, so say we discard something to Grave Physician, then we create a copy of the card we discarded in our hand. That's serviceable, but I think I just want to come over here with the Blade Squire. I don't think we're going to be out here trying to play a big value game. And I think we could just let this one go. I see where we can build up a lot of combos into this thing, but and I would like the decisive maneuver, but I think I'm happy enough just to snatch up another Reforged. And this does look great here in the synergy picks as well. I was just suspecting that the Twisted Fate packs were going to show up. Looks like they're not going to, and so we were kind of expecting this to be like relic trackers. This was our Riven archetype. We were expecting a hopefully having a Noxus one show up. Seems like Glory and Value wants to show up all over the place, but I was anticipating this Arachnophilia pack to the right was going to be this dumb Twisted Fate Bilgewater cards, but it's very nice to see another Riven archetype showed up. We've got Arachnophilia and Relic Trackers. This is exactly what we're looking to have happen, as 2 of these Riven archetypes show up as frequently as we can. Okay, strong set here. We do have some of these dumb Bilgewater cards making an appearance, but Legion Drummer is one of the premier early plays. She plays fantastically with our Trifarian Glory Seekers. It just, especially if we're able to give her quick attack in some way, and so spreading out the quick attacks is all pretty strong. All right, another strong set with another Drummer Iron Ballista looks pretty good to me. I could see an argument for picking up Roar of the Slayers, but the Legion Drummer is just way too strong in my opinion. Okay, another decent set. I like Fallen Rider. This is good even if you don't have too much of the discard stuff. I mean, we have some discard stuff, right? We have the Reborn Grenadiers. We have I thought we had one more that required a discard. Oh, the Great Physician. And it's not unlikely to think that we won't find like a Slayer's Breath or whatever the 3-mana discard removal spell is called. Otherwise, with these cards, like You've Been Warned is fine, but Hunter's Sleet is trash. Slippery Wave Rider is good late game, but Double Trouble's pretty meh. I don't like Sharpened Resolve either, but the Fallen Rider is right on point with what we're trying to do. And man, this is a real pack right here. This one has all the stuff in it. It has we're pretty light on late game, right? So I could see an argument for the Reckoner Decisive Maneuver. There's also a second Trifarian Glory Seeker with a Reforge, and then there's our first Whirling Death with a Reforge. Like, all of these packs are just extremely strong. I'm kind of leaning towards just taking the late game oriented cards. It really sucks to pass up all of this value in here, but we got to have a way to win the game that isn't a Riven sword. And so the Fallen Reckoner is quite good in those terms, just being able to uh, put this can't block on one of our opposing units, hopefully make a trade with this thing, and then get another can't block. Just all in all, pretty powerful, along with a good game ender and decisive maneuvers. And so it's like I figured as we like rolled into the next pack, it would just start showing us like a bunch of armored elephants, but we're still looking for a couple. We still want to pick up like 2 or 3 copies of like Armored Elephant or Savage Reckoner, or if we luck into a big epic like Captain Farron, then sure. But we need some late game in here. We just haven't seen any up to this point. And very realistically, if we can pull off a game, we're probably going to try to trade into Scion. And so we'll see how that goes. But here we're stuck with the Ravenous Flock Iron Ballista. I would be like okay with Jagged Butchers, but Jailbreak is pretty weak, and then Bloodbait is completely unplayable. So let's just stick with the Noxus cards and the Ballista. Here we go. We got our options now, and whether or not we want a Tusk Raider or a Reckoner. And I'm going to go with the Reckoner. I'd rather have Rune Weavers as opposed to Weapon Hilts. So very strong. This is the Breath of the Slayer I was talking about. Turns out it's Roar of the Slayer, but wouldn't be opposed to picking up a copy of it. Okay, and our last pick. Interesting. We're definitely not picking up Snapjaw Swarm. So dumb seeing these cards show up so late. This is one of like the real downsides to even drafting Misfortune these days. Is Misfortune is the opportunity attacks Bilgewater champion, and just having these Snapjaw Swarms show up all throughout your draft is fucking abysmal. The lurk theme is horrifically terrible in Expedition, unless you're specifically drafting Rek'Sai without Bilgewater. And for all the people out there that are like, herder, I'd rather play a draft format. I want to sit at a table with 8 people and draft cards all the time. Have fun drafting Snapjaw Swarms, okay? That is going to feel really good when you start seeing Lurk leak into your draft picks. Just keep that one in mind. You heard it here from Bust. That's going to be horrifically bad as a play experience when you're sitting here drafting and you're like, I've got my 6-faction deck and I'm getting a last pick Snapjaw Swarm. Like, this is really feels good. No, that's going to feel horrible. People, I don't like to call people bad names, but there's a few bad names I could use for the people that are suggesting Runeterra move into a Magic style draft format. Anywho, back to these. I'm looking at the expensive bros here. I would like to have another Legion drummer. We would play as many as we can get, but our top end is kind of weak out here. And so Weapon of the Lost is, it's interactive and it's big and it has a big splashy effect. And then the Wrathful Rider, it can be okay here. I mean, we can put an Overwhelm on it and do some damage, or we can put a quick attack on it and win a big challenge or something. It has its places in the deck like this. It's just not something we're ever particularly excited to have. Okay, what about a Shipwreck Hoarder though? My typical concern with Shipwreck Hoarder would be like finding ways to give it Overwhelm, and we have that, and so I'm kind of interested just as a real high roll of a card, because getting rid of these Reborn Grenadiers feels pretty good as well, and so I mean I guess I don't want the Brothers Bond, and I think the Physician is probably more important than the Fallen Riders. let's just pick this dum-dum up. And okay. Now, if y'all don't know what time it is, we do have to go pay tribute to the pay-to-win lifestyle, pick up something to be our premium for the Trun, and let's see what we have. I'm probably going to have to go get some coins to afford our non-common cards, but maybe there'll be a rare, or maybe there'll be a spell to save our pocketbook today. Nope, doesn't look like it, so we're going to be back into the rares. Let's see what we can upgrade here. I know we have a Petty Officer, but I'm going to try and trade it away. Anything else down here? Same with Yordle Grifter. We got the Fallen Reckoner. That would be perfect, right? It does generate a card, so we get double usage out of the premiumness. Looks pretty good to me. All right, we had the coins for the purchase as well. Ready for action. So yeah, it did go on a bit of a rant in the draft section there about people wanting to draft this like you draft Magic with a pot of players, and just a big, open up 15 cards and pick one and pass it to the person next to you. It sounds completely horrible in Runeterra. Runeterra is just like so centered and focused on champions and building around the champions that just opening up packs of random stuff seems stupid. Even if it's like seeded with... even if the packs are seeded with champions in some way, or it's like 3 champions in a pack or something, it's just like, I get like people's complaints about Expedition feeling kind of like mini constructed, but I think that's kind of what a lot of the appeal is, especially as you draft a deck that has like in Magic that has like 15 cohesive cards and then just a lot of decent filler. Like a lot of times it doesn't feel like you're playing an actual deck. You're just playing a collection of good cards, and I really like that. In Expedition, you're for the most part trying to craft decks, as opposed you can play good cards in Expedition, but I think the good cards decks aren't that good here. Anywho, back to the action. I'm not opposed to just say discarding this Ephemeral Grenadier to the Great Physician and getting in. We do have the quick attack token, so if they start adding reasonably sized bros to the board, we could look to quick attack the Runeweaver, and then we also have some other combating options in the Weapon Hilt and the Brothers Bond, or if they go for a trade, a value block, we have a Ravenous Flock. Just like lots of decent stuff we can do off of this. Okay, this is a perfect spot for a Brothers Bond when he blocks our 2/2. Okay, didn't expect it to come down that way. And he's really putting the work into protecting this thing. I don't really want to see them get the ramp next turn. I think the Brothers Bond is okay. We'll give it a try. If this fails, I mean, we spent half of a card to get a whole card out of them. And then if they really want to save this thing, we're going to get like, 2.5 cards, or be up to 2 cards for the 1. We still got the 2 for 1 there at the end of the day. So not a bad trade. Correct. Get that Faces of the Old One out here. No hate on our opponent, but I hate that card so much. Just, just like a super high rolly card. I don't like that it exists. But let's see what we can do here. I mentioned that we might want to pick up a Scion, but I think we might have picked up enough late game stuff here, right? It shouldn't be too unreasonable for us to just find another expensive card as it is. And so I'm just going to go with the Riven. This is a pretty good Riven with the Blade Squire Legion Drummer, as to where this Scion overlaps on the decisive maneuvers that we already have. I love having one decisive maneuvers. I do not like having multiple copies. And so I think we can let him go. And then as we get to the third champion pack, we can kind of reassess if we need to pick up some more late game. Or if we want to get the full stack on Riven. Riven flips into Weapon Hilt, so her flip isn't that exciting, but herself as a card is pretty exciting, and you always love to have them on turn 3. So I think it's okay. No complaints about stacking Rivens. Okay, Aurelian Soul and Nivea. We're going to have to get out in front of this deck quickly. That's a pretty reasonable way to do it. You got a 1, a 2, and then a 1 and a 2 for turn 3. That's how you live that aggro lifestyle. I'm cold, I'm hungry, and there's rocks in my boots. Boom. Okay. Pick up the old combat trick. The only thing that would worry me out of a deck like this is how much AoE that they have. The Nivea archetypes tend to have a lot of it. Cards like this Lonely Poro are going to be a bit awkward as well. Turns out a way to combat all of our 1 health units is with a Lonely Poro that's really strong here. Okay. We'll just start picking up some Reforges. We can go ahead and quick attack the Runeweaver if we want. Kind of okay with it. we're gonna spew off 2 swords this game. That seems pretty okay. Just go super swords. We're gonna do that. Let's just add some dudes this turn, and then we'll look to get a big sword play on our next attack. I don't like seeing that come down. So let's see. It's kind of unfortunate. He can block our 2-1 with his Weirding Stones, but I think we just have to start chunking in the damage while we can. Seeing ramp cards scares me. Safe block. Okay. And the Shipwreck Hoarder, ready to high roll us a treasure. Alright, it's only got 1 mana. This can't go bad. Like, if we get Brittle Steeled here, it sucks a whole lot, but I think I would rather get Brittle Steeled in this combat as opposed to the one where we drop the sword. So, it's like kind of tempting to drop onto the rider, because the downside to this turn is we're going to waste a bunch of fragments, right? Ideally, we would be putting quick attack overwhelm onto something big, +2 attack onto a squire, and then put the Riven Sword onto the squire. So we have like 2 big quick attack overwhelms, but man, I think we just have to kind of wait until we can pull that off. Wrathful Rider certainly helps in those terms. We can attack with like a 6 attack quick attacking Risen Rider, which isn't that bad. I do want to keep like chunking damage in here. And then we can just kind of let his dragon grow and then still attack with everything. I think this is okay. Quick attack, 2 attack. He wants to get a value block with the Fused Firebrand, that's okay. If he wants to stop our 6 attack quick attack with an Avarosian Sentry, that's okay. I would love to see the Weirding Stones go away, but I think realistically... Oh, he's got an... Interesting. He's got to have another trick for the 6 attack thing. No? Wow. Surprised to see him really care about trading into the small units. Okay. I got excited. I got the Scorched Earth and got so excited we could kill the dragon, then realized I had Spell Shield. I was bitching about Spell Shield in the last draft. I'm not sure like how small I feel about like where Spell Shields are okay. The dragon seems kind of like a reasonable space for it, but I really like. I think it feels good on like the big invoke expensive dudes, but I don't like that archetype, that theme in general. Okay, so we lost out on our big boy, which kind of sucks here. But, I mean, we can get a 6 attack Blade Squire if we want. This is just another one of these bad turns as to where we can add the Hoarder, but it's not that exciting here. We can't quick attack it. Feels so bad. We're like 1 mana away from this turn being decent. Alright, we're gonna have to wait another turn to get this stuff going. We're pretty close to getting to lethal on this, but this feels a little too dangerous on this board. I would love to see him pass to us. I mean, I guess that's kind of scary. Like if he's passing to us, he would just be like, "Oh, I have a harsh winds," but we're gonna have to have like a big all-in turn. Okay, that's fine. We want to go ahead and burn a quick attack because we're 1 unit away from getting a. I think we can pass. I think we can just Blade Squire block a unit next turn, and then we will be up to the double Riven Swords. Weapon of the Lost is sort of interesting. Perfect. So the other kind of like dangerous thing here, we could look to target the Weirding Stones because if he plays Aurelion Soul next turn, it really chunks into the damage we're able to deal. I still kind of feel like we're going to just get popped by a harsh winds, but we're super all in at this point. We just have to have something go right. Okay. Not super worried about the Golden Sister. We can quick attack through a lot of this. So, we're looking to play 4 fragments, right? We need this. The heavy will give us the first. The 3 more will give us the second sword. So we've got 6 there. Once we play the 2 Riven swords. And then we're going to have to stop with the mana. We can't add Legion Drummer if we still want a Sharpened Resolve. So, let's do... We just kind of want to, like, spread this out, right? So, I think if we look at this as saying, like, okay, we're going to put a Riven Sword on the Hoarder, we're going to put a Riven Sword on the Shieldbreaker, then we want to put Overwhelm to the left. We also want to give Quick Attack to the left. We'll give you +2 attack just to spread them out. You can double up on Overwhelm, it doesn't matter. Riven Sword number 1. So that gives him the quick attack Overwhelm. And then we'll play Riven Sword number 2 on our 6/5. So our whole team has the quick attack Overwhelm. There's the Aurelion Soul. That feels okay, actually. I think we win the game with Aurelion Soul on the board. Like, Aurelion Soul gets to block our Shipwreck Hoarder. And then I guess where this would be bad is if they also have Brittle Steel. And so let's stop and think if we can Sharpened Resolve our Risen Rider before we attack so we can't Brittle Steel it, right? So the way that would work is his 2 biggest health, his 5 and his 4, that's a 9. So that would cancel the Shipwreck Hoarder, and then we'd still win the game. Okay. Or we cancel the Risen Rider, I guess. Either way, this should all work. Aurelion Soul blocks a 9, and then we have 17 Overwhelm coming through. His units aren't big enough. We'll quick attack down the sister before she can lifesteal. And we played around the Brittle Steel. Boom it. Good job, kitty. Got that kitty helped get us through that one. Delightful kitty. This is the dumb one. She's not the smartest kitty in the world. We describe her as, if intelligence falls on a bell curve, she's on the left side of the median, but she is a super sweetheart. She's one of the nicest kitties you'll come across. We give her some good pets. All right. Moving on. I'm kind of interested in double up. I don't think I'm going to take it here. The Fallen Rider is a pretty strong unit, but I mean, we're pretty stacked on 2s at this point, right? We've got 3 Rune Weavers, 3 Drummers, only 1 Glory Seeker, but I could definitely see trading out this Fallen Rider. The double up just gives us a way to close out a game, but I kind of look at there's 2 problems here, right? The Reborn Grenadier is probably the worst card in our deck. So it's nice to trade it away. But it does seem to be offering us trades all across this discard deck, right? The Reborn Grenadier, Fallen Rider, Noble Rebel are all kind of like discard-oriented themes. And I think we'll get the opportunity to trade the Grenadier away later, right? We were able to trade away our first one earlier. And I don't think we'll ever see double up ever again. So I'm going to go for it here and just pick up the double up. I think our 2s are strong enough. And then hope we can trade out that Grenadier in the future. Still might pick up a Scion, who knows? Feeling cute, but the thing with Scion is he can still reasonably come down flipped, even without discard abilities. I think even in our last video we did the 4 champion special with Scions. He came down flipped most of the time. I think we had like 1 game where we just had to play, but we didn't have any discard stuff. We were playing a much higher curve. We had a lot of Trifarians going on. So a little bit easier to level up in a deck with a bunch of like 5 attack 2-drops in it. But We could still do it here. It would probably just be like turn 9 or so before we had enough power to do it. Okay, lots of Anivia today. But let's hang on to the Blade Squire Riven. Try to mulligan into a 2-drop. Didn't find it, but not the end of the world. Not the end of the world, is it, kitty? Sure isn't. Sure isn't. Rocks in my boots. That's aggressive. See if they just immediately draw the Yeti. we pulled some of that off. The Yeti Earling shuffles them into the deck. And so they're not super likely to come out here and draw them. Sure. Love seeing us be able to get this trade. I assume that this means that they just don't have any combat tricks. If they're trying to be so aggressive into our Blade Squire. Not having a 2 sucks. We just traded away our 2 and feel kind of bad about it, but things are still coming together okay. What you got? More Yeti Yearlings? Here comes a Riven. Okay. Did we hit a quick attack fragment? I haven't been paying super close attention. We did not. We may not be able to attack with the drummer, but we'll see what happens. Okay. Traded our 3 mana card for their 7 mana card and picked up an additional one for our problems and our effort. It's not bad. And shuffle more Yetis in. Thinking about the old Yeti shuffle. Not this time. Okay. Wonder if they have a Tall Tales. Thresh. How do we feel about this? I was like hoping to build up to just playing Weapons of the Lost, but that doesn't seem to be a possibility now. We can gold card Thresh to get a shutdown on him this turn. I think that's kind of where I'm leaning here. I mean, I guess to a degree we could just red card and then hit him with a Scorched Earth. If we're looking to switch to a Scorched Earth play anyways, then we would rather play red card. I think that's fine. Let's just go ahead and take him down. Save that spell mana. Get us 1 more for next turn so we don't burn through anything here. It's good to me. The big quick attack challenges here. You gotta do it with the big boy every once in a while. Do we want to go ahead and overwhelm this? It's tempting. Yeah, why not? There's a lot of reasons why not, but feels strong enough here. Okay. Can't imagine that's how you want to be spending your turn. This unspeakable horror to the face. Feels nice when you get the Weaver in hand. Ooh, double up. Well, that's annoying. Let's wait and see what he does. If he passes to us with no attack, I think that's still pretty good for us. We don't burn like too much mana. All of our stuff here is pretty reactive anyways. Bring in some kind of thunder. Oh. So let's see, like how all in do we want to go on this turn? I feel like the tricks we have to worry about are pretty low. Like he didn't do anything to our Wrathful Rider last turn, so I think we might be able to just kind of go all in here and get a Riven Sword. So let's see, let's add Runeweaver. We can do it kind of slower this way so we get to kind of at least see what they're going to spend their mana on and add to the board. He doesn't play anything that kind of reeks of a vengeance. So let's not like stack everything up on the Wrathful Rider. It's kind of where I want the sword to go, but I think we want to put our other stuff here. So let's say he pops our Rider with Vengeance. We're going to double up onto the Yeti Yearling, and then a hit with everything else. Let's have good blocks like this. Maybe we just go with the double combat tricks instead. That seems a little safer. And then if we're still reading into this as like a Vengeance, I think this is okay. We get to see where he spends his mana and react. So we're going to be like threatening a lethal with this hook, right? We're going to trample over 7. And so if, say, his response is to Vengeance, then we just kill him with combat tricks. But if he does something else weird and is starting to get good blocks with his champions, then we can switch to using the Sharpened Resolve and the Weapon Hilt. So, like, the Sharpened Resolve, extremely good. Oh, hang on. We could have just lethaled him. Should. Can't quite fix that, but... Oops. It's a sort of dangerous to go all in on the Runeweaver. A lot of cards that can actually kill it, but... I think this is still turning out okay. Got this monster board he's going to have to deal with. So much Rekindler. Okay. We can get the good hook onto our Twisted Fate or whatever he's going to do. Then we should be able to open kill next turn. It's like you see him choose our Legion Drummer, and it's like, all right, do you want to play a Fragment on it? Oh, no attacks. Excellent. We only need to deal 1 point of damage. Let's do it like this. Give him more opportunities to get killed by double up. I'm just getting killed. Okay. GG. Alrighty, so let's see if we get offered up a Scion here. Curious what our option is. This has been trying to get us to trade away our discard cards. Okay, Riven, Twisted Fate, expected, I should say, and then Scion. I do like this Scion. Well, I guess there's kind of like two sides to the coin here, right? We can make great usage of Basilisk Rider. We're very locked into being able to play with the Allegiance cards, and we're very happy to trade away all of our Bilgewater cards that aren't Twisted Fate and Double Up. And so if we could get down to like 2 Bilgewater, we would feel really good about it. And then we are looking for late game. And so we're going to find late game either way, whether or not we're getting the Battering Ram or we're getting this big Scion stack. But the flip side of the coin here is that on the Riven, there is the Trifarian Glory Seeker, which is, in my opinion, one of the premier early game units, especially when we have all of these Reforges and we have 3 Legion Drummers. And so I think this fills in where we're missing. The Battering Ram, not that exciting, but it does, serve that late game that we're looking for, and I think we're good to take this Riven stack. That's close though. That was a pretty good Scion pack. A lot of the very good kind of mid game overwhelms in the 4 and the 5. But I have such a hard time passing on Trifarian Glory Seekers. And Teemo. He is a problem for us. I don't like hanging on to Twisted Fate, but he can kill Teemo. So I'm going to hold on to that, see if we can't mulligan into something cheaper. Missed on our 2s again. We still get 2 more draws at a 2-drop, but there's one. Yeah, to have these answers to Teemo. We didn't open with him. Good. All right, what are our chances of getting it rained on here? Parlay, not bad. Just don't want this super wide board of 1 health units getting blasted by a Make It Rain. Okay. Got it. Heart and blade both broken. So emo, Riven. Jeez. Oh, wow. Popping off the puff caps already. Interesting. That seems very aggressive. Quick attack? No.
I hope that was mud.
Observe and learn.
Alright, so I mean, it's probably fine to just go ahead and try to slam Glory Seekers on this board. I would love to take down better units than a 3-2, but he's winning the damage race at this point, and so we can't flood the board. Let's just get in while we can. And then if we lose Riven to a Mystic Shot, I think that's okay. We're starting to have like plenty of stuff to add to the board here. Just it's weird being this kind of like aggressive Reforged deck and being so defensive, but that's kind of where we're at with this. Draw a card? Yeah, I think we can draw. Well, I think we actually want to just get rid of this Shipwreck Hoarder. It's going to be quite a few turns before we can play it. And I just want to get on board with as much as we can. They tend to like flood the board with a bunch of shitty units anyways. And so it's going to be tough for that guy to get in for damage. Uh-oh. You're going to hurt yourself, son. Just one. Pilfered goods in the Puffcap deck is not always advisable.
We march as one, an unstoppable force.
All right, so we might be able to end the game on our next attack. Not so much this one. Alright, so we're most definitely losing our Legion Drummer to the 2-2 here, but we get to soak up so much mana this way. It's hard for them to add stuff to the board. Like, he has to make the decision now if he wants to pop off the Mushroom Clouds or if he wants to add units to the board. And so, it sucks to lose our guy, but I think we're in a pretty safe space now. Especially on their turn, we can do stuff like like he plays a unit, we red card Twisted Fate, and then we Scorched Earth whatever his play was, and then coming back to our turn, we can crush. let's be real, we can crush here. Okay, there comes the map. Sure, we're gonna Scorched Earth the Sump Snipe Scavenger. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, I guess you can't say we've definitely won this one, but I'm pretty sure we've won this one.
We don't have much, but it's enough.
Rip.
Sorry.
Officer J.S. Hawklaw.
Whoa. that was a big damage. Hitting us for 3? We don't have that many puff caps in our deck. And double up. There's our. We have the overwhelm one, which we don't really need. Just looking, we want to play like one fragment this turn. Let's play +2 attack. Put it on Twisted Fate. He can survive and make it rain, and get everything else in. We have the Brothers Bond and Decisive Maneuvers. Can't imagine we lose the game here. Or don't win the game here, I should say.
It was in the cards.
It's in the cards. You tell him, Twisted Fate. So that is actually named, like... You see something like Riven and Twisted Fate. I assume that Riven is Riven's name, but, like... Is his name really Twisted Fate? Like, he goes down to the bar at the end of the day, and they're like, yeah, what up, Twisted Fate? You know, let's hang out. You know, his name's like Steve or something, right? It's just, he's upset that he has this, like, really basic name. He says, no, man, I'm Twisted Fate. Call me by my stage name. Fucking Steve out here. That's what I loved about the True Blood show, right? It's not everyone having like ridiculous names like Dracula. You got Vampire Bill running around. That shit was so on point. But all right. Back to the action here. We did get the chance to trade out our Reborn Grenadier. Absolutely happy to pick up a Glory Seeker. Very strong trade for us. Looking pretty good. Not a bad deck today. Okay, I'm ready for it. Thought we were ready for it. We're waiting on it. No poor robots, man. All humans all the time. Let's see. Poor robot's scary. Especially that Draven one. Yeah, looking at these champions, there's Quinn, that's a real name. Karma, that's a real name. Shyvana, that's a real name. Like, what else we got? Kindred? Sure, I'll call you Kindred. Trundle? Absolutely a troll name. Hecarim? Yeah, my bro Hecarim. But none of these, right? Yo, Twisted Fate. Poor guy. He's like the only one. The only one without a name. His it's got to be like Steve. You don't do that. You don't come out the womb. Your mom grabs the birth certificate. Twisted Fate. First name Twisted, last name Fate. Come on, guy. All right. Well, here's the poor robot. Not sure what we're getting into against this Shen Fiora deck in terms of Fiora has been nerfed, and so hopefully it's not too scary. Fiora is pretty scary against the cards that we're presenting. It's very easy for her to win a lot of these combats, but I think we'll be okay. Not a bad opener, and we got a Twisted Fate to deal with Fiora if we need to. Alright, would like to find another unit. But let's see. Ooh, with our first Yordle Grifter, this guy's gonna be a treat. Okay. Y'all think we're gonna hit? What's our chances? We got 1, 2, 3 Bilgewaters in our 28 cards. So what's that, like a 1 in 9? 1 in 9. Missed. I don't believe it. This game's rigged. Alright, well these blocks are all horrible, but we gotta do something. So we'll try to take the 3-2 down. Has the potential to grow in the future. We gotta find something to do here. Wrathful Riders, not looking that great. We don't have the quick attack fragment to boost him in. But, I mean, it seems better than playing a unit that can't block. I guess we could play like a 1 and a 4. Yeah, that's probably where we have to be. What can we do about Shen? Well,
My time.
let's see.
Immediately.
Oh. Well, that was generous. See, I guess you can barrier him here, but I think the game might get, well, and say the game might get confused and let this damage just happen. But he can still play his barrier and stop our red card.
Never lost a fair game. Or played one.
Okay, that works. Now we got all the tools we need to get this big, quick attacking, Riven sorting, Wrathful Rider going. Ooh, that's big.
None stronger, none more feared.
Easy.
Out of 2. I mean, what are our other options here? I mean, I think we need, next turn, we need a Weapons of the Lost, and we need a quick attack hook. So we have to have 9 mana next turn. We can have 3, 6, 7. Okay. Let's risk it. It's only got 1 mana, he can't kill us here. Let's see how this goes. I have a horrible record against the Poro bot. This thing's been crushing me here recently. Alright, it auto passed on that one. That feels kind of good. Where's our quick attack? Slightly scary here. If he's able to, take down our units, it's pretty bad. He can open kill us, but we couldn't have played around single combat either way. What do we got? Double up? Doesn't do it.
The king coup.
Lost the Poro bot victorious again. Oh, he's giving us a chance. We just can't take advantage of it. Damn. Maybe he'll do something weird. Nope. Not today. Alright. But I mean, we had the draw to where we had like no 3-drop, which is extremely painful. You gotta have a 2 or a 3 on 3. Draws like that were just pretty bad. So here, I do like the idea of Sunk Cost. I just think it's going to be a little bit too slow in this deck. I don't want Ravenous Flock, though. So Brothers Bond, not that great, but Ravenous Flock is even less great here. So let's go ahead and make that swap. All right, the battles continue. Not a bad day. Don't know if you football fans out there caught that delightful Patriots-Bills game last night. That was super boring. I guess it wasn't that bad. I mean, the Chiefs game was super boring this week, but the Patriots throwing the ball 3 times, it was a bit ridiculous. I think for fantasy football, I think Mac Jones put up like 1.5 points, which is ridiculous. There's an interesting thread going on Reddit with like the worst quarterback fantasy performance to where the team still won, as Mac Jones's 1.5 point performance was pretty good for a win. But there's apparently a Rex Grossman Bears game where he scored like -7 points at quarterback and the team still won. I believe it was for the Bears. It sounds like a very Bears thing to do. All right, back to the action here against old Sean Bam. Let's see what we can do. So I'm anticipating what's going to happen here is we're going to play the Glory Seeker, not be able to attack with it. Then we're going to play Riven and get a quick attack token. And then on the next turn, we'll make some kind of Twisted Fate quick attack play, and it's all gonna feel good. Like it when they feel good. Maybe. Might have dropped his phone in the toilet.
Sharpen the blade, secure the kill.
There it is. All right, we won't trade into the Conservator. We'll give this a turn. So I was intending on playing Riven, but it looks like it's going to feel much better to just add Legion Drummer. So that we get the guaranteed quick attack, and then we can also Brothers Bond next turn if we want. The Twisted Fate is fairly interesting in terms of Brothers Bond as well. So, I like it. Red card, I clicked it.
Deal me in.
Premium red card. Should do 2 damage. Right? Right? Pay to win it. Do the 2 damage. He's got 2 Aurelion Souls in this deck. Gotta take him down fast. We beat the 1 Aurelion Soul, though. Not super likely to do. We got it on like the last turn of the game. Puts it on top of our deck. Okay. Alright, here comes the squad. I assure you we have a trick. It's guaranteed. That does not seem like a good block. I was expecting this to go on our Legion Drummer, but I'll take it. This is very good for us. Now we get a Riven plus Glory Seeker turn, and then we can burst some shit out next turn, and so I'll aboard with that.
Victory requires a sharp blade.
Gonna hook our Twisted Fate, and we're gonna have to weapon hilt. That's fine. Don't get to play the Riven here, but taking down the dragon is still good. Hit the Overwhelm. So do we even bother adding Riven here, or would you rather just play Battering Ram? Because we're gonna get to hook whatever they play. I think this is fine. Not too many dragons that are worrisome, right? He can play like a 6/6. There's a handful of them. There's like the Cadrigen. I think Cadrigen's the only one. But if he plays a 5 health or less dragon, he's just going to get blasted. And then we still get in for tons of damage either way. Nice. Alright, the trial does not end. The Porobot was not enough to send us to the bottom of the mountain or wherever you go when your trial is cut short. What do we got? Don't really want Zap Spray Fin. I could see an argument for Zap, but we can get rid of this Yordle Grifter. Weapons of the Lost, I don't like playing, really like playing more than one, but I definitely like playing it more than Yordle Grifter. So, works for me. Here we go. Got here Shen Tarek. Okay. I got multiple copies of Shen as well. Serviceable start. May not get some of that early game aggression in with our Legion drummers, but it's okay.
We march as one, an unstoppable force.
I'm bringing the heat on that. Cool. I wonder how much support this support archetype will receive from Riot. This is the problem with the support cards, right? It's so bad on defense, and he didn't have the 2-cost support to take advantage of the Flower Child. Just pretty painful for opponent. We could play a 2-mana combat trick out of this turn. Let's just add the Ballista. We have the option in the Petty Officer, or we could play a 2-drop and look to Sharpened Resolve, but I think our trick of the turn is going to be Weapon Hilt. Okay.
Finally, peace.
It's not much of a tempo play. It's getting further and further ahead. Wasn't worried about it, Tarek.
Never submit.
So he's like most certainly gonna have a card, right? What can you do for 1 mana? There's nothing you can do for 1 mana.
Must be done.
He could play Rush. Rush would be it, but he didn't play Rush before combat. Okay. We got a trick if we need it.
I need just a moment.
Glory Seeker, we're 2 banked. I'm still looking to play just Battering Ram this turn. If we play Battering Ram, we can't Sharpened Resolve. Kind of sucks, but our board is big and we have this quick attack challenge. I think everything here's fine. No play? What's that mean? Well, I'm willing to find out, I guess. You tell me, my man.
Victory.
Oh, no, I want...
Heart.
Well, let's do it this way.
Face me. There's still much to answer for.
So let's say he blocks Riven. I think I want to put the +2 attack. I mean, I guess the safest place is to put it on our dude down here to the right. Let's give Riven Overwhelm. Really like to end the game this turn. The thing that he would like to do is to play like the +3/+3. I guess that would be the scary one, is if he puts the +3/+3 on his Sparklefly and then is able to put it in front of like Riven. Okay, I don't think we're going to kill him on this attack. I think that's what it's going to have to look like, right? He puts some big boost onto Sparklefly and lets the Taric go away. There's no way this Taric support deck doesn't have a combat trick here. We're just not winning the game this turn. But we're getting in a pretty good position to win it on our next attack. Okay. That's fine. Just no tempo from the opponent. Can't block cards pretty good.
I'm ready to shine.
You will not be blocking Taric. So he can play a 1 mana card. Try this block. We fall to 12, lose our Glory Seeker, and his Taric can't block next turn. Okay. Looks good to me. Hey, got him. Got him. Go us. All right. What do we got? Get ourselves ready for this final battle. What do we think of Noble Rebel? We're not going to discard enough cards, but he is a reasonable overwhelmer. I mean, he's a slightly understated Mighty Poro, and we'd be happy enough to play Mighty Poro in this deck. But I think I am kind of interested in picking up Trifarian Hopefuls. We do have the 3 Blade Squires to boost him onto 2, but even with this kind of thing, if you're playing him on like turn 5, and say on turn 5 we get to play both Riven and the Hopeful, then it's still a pretty good deal. I think I'm okay with this. I don't want Brothers Bond. I could see an argument for the Brutal Hunter, but Let's just keep our curve low as we can. Petty Officer is actually okay. I think I like this pickup of the Basilisk Rider. We don't really need value plays in this deck. The game is over before they happen. Darius. Interesting. I think I'm more interested in just picking up the Fallen Reckoner, but we got enough top end here. We've been doing good enough with just one big boy. So let's pick up the Reckoner. He also fits into the big boy plan. Twisted Fate for LeBlanc is a different story. I really like picking up LeBlanc here. I'm sorry, TF. Sorry, Steve. We'll see you on another day. Okay. I think we want to hang on to the Scorched Earth. Our removal is pretty lacking in this deck. We just have the Scorched Earth and then the double up. So, and then, of course, these expensive Weapon of the Lost. We don't even have a Whirling Death. And so I think we need to hang on to the Scorched Earth just to have some interactivity. And I'm going to skip over all of these. Right, the Shipwreck Order for the 1-drop. Sure. I like it. Let's get to battle. Let's get to battle. Not a bad little deck. Lots of power coming out of this Riven. Whew. Yeah, I wonder if this is going to be our last one. I'm still curious. I hope so much that that the new cards get added to Expedition with the release of Mystical Misadventures or whatever the new one's called. I ultimately worry about it quite a bit, but I think this is like how it went with the last set, anyways, or the last expansion. I can't remember who was the kind of standalone champion out of Empires of the Ascended, but I feel like they did the same thing where they did like the champion expansion. They didn't put it in Expedition, and then he made his way in with the release of whatever the last expansion of Empires of the Ascended was. But I don't quite remember how that played out. I wish that there was like I wouldn't care even if the cards came out. Like I know I've said dozens of times that I thought it was fantastic how they handled Zillion, as to where they planned on pairing Zillion with Echo, but Echo wasn't released yet, and so instead of releasing some Zillion archetype just for the purposes of getting him into Expedition, they just didn't do it, and I thought that was great. I'm sure that there's some people out there that are bitching, but I think that that's the a safe and fair way to handle it. And so even if I just would love it so much if Riot would come out and say like, hey, we're gonna update the Expedition archetypes with the release of expansions, and so you'll get 6 updates a year. That's it, and I think that's perfectly reasonable in terms of expectations. Just it's so unfortunate to be kind of left up in the air. I mean, I don't know. There's as I watch Daynime stream a lot in the afternoons, and he was talking a lot about. He was on Age of Empires 4 patch notes and talking quite a bit about how various companies handle their patch notes and how I guess it would be Valve that just doesn't release anything. They don't say anything about it. They have no social media presence. It's just here's your patch and that's it. And I can certainly see the appeal and the reasoning for doing that. It's just as it feels like slightly different in terms of I guess like Valve's release would be like Team Fortress 2 TFT or one of the Counter Strikes or something. It's like I don't think balancing in a first-person shooter is quite as different or important as it would be to a card game. So I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to get rambly. Let's get back to the game here. We can add in the Glory Seeker. We don't have the quick attack yet, but we can get it off of the weapon hilt, and so we can get a quick attack challenge out of this turn if we want. Depends on what opponent plays. I don't really want to trade our Glory Seeker for this 2/2, but I would trade it for a 4-drop just to bank this mana and build towards the sword on turn 6. But let's see what they got. Calculated creation.
You know what my future is? Glorious.
Interesting. Alright, I still like it. So we'll spread out the damage. Put the quick attack onto the Glory Seeker. He could have the 1 damage Victor-based burn spell, which would be kind of suck, but whatever. That's the level we'll put into this. Yeah, whatever. Okay, positive turn. Now we can also make big plays here. Like, let's say they tap out for a 5-drop random dragon, whatever it is. We can add the rider here. Then next turn, play the Reckoner, weaken up their smallest unit, and then get a quick attack challenge in. Should be like we can most definitely fall and reckon into the chump wump, and then have a quick attack challenge for whatever their next unit is. Do we change that play up though? Now that we've picked up Legion Drummer, I don't think so. We're just gonna blast him for infinite damage here. We can maybe even lethal out of this, right? 7, 10. We can get up to 16. I don't know. YOLO. YOLO, right? Is that what the kids are still saying? Do all you 20-somethings out there still use the phrase YOLO? Sure. Still looking pretty good here. Oh, that was even perfecter. We just got seven mana of dudes to drop on the board, and then next turn we'll just open again and crush. This game's done. Calling my shot now. This game is over.
We march as one, an unstoppable force. Oh, that's a harvest right there. They grow up so fast.
Other than 20-somethings out there saying their YOLOs and their yeets. Trying to think of it. Oh my god, he hit for 6. Are we going to lose this game? Oh my god, did we call our shot too soon? That's scary. We need our overwhelm unit. We're going to make the plays with decisive maneuvers. Oh, Jesus. Okay, I feel better now. I feel much better now. Something like this, we'll decisive maneuver a blocker and then just smash. I think we're okay. Nothing is coming to mind. I guess he could drop like a handful of like mystic shots and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to matter. Boom. There you have it. Nice little 7 winner. Had to get rid of our Steve, say YOLO a few times, but we got there. We got there. So, all right, let's get this one pulled up. We'll talk about this gem a little bit more. And so, yeah, I think that is it's a pretty straightforward deck, right? If you're going to be out here drafting Riven, you can take yourself pretty far by doing nothing but drafting cards that say Reforged on them, and then picking up Legion Drummer and a Trifarian Glory Seeker. Like, if that is the extent of your deck, as long as you didn't like mangle your curve, then you should be completely fine. I think the big thing with this was kind of like navigating the draft itself. It's making the recognition that, you know, Riven is, you know, super powerful and she exists all over the place. And so if you get to kind of like pick and choose the cards throughout the draft in terms of getting the other archetypes to show up, then you should be in a pretty good place, because there's just so much overlap between all of the archetypes. It's very easy to just stack up on all of these good cards, right? It's not you shouldn't realistically be able to assemble these decks that have 4 Blade Squires, 3 Rune Weavers, 3 drummers, 3 glory seekers, and then some number of weapon hilts. Like that's just too. That's the result of there being too many Riven archetypes in Expedition. You don't have to deviate far enough from what like the constructed deck Riven looks like to what you're doing here. And so, yeah, she's still, incredibly powerful in these terms. The decks tend to be ultra consistent. Before Riven existed everywhere, what we talked a lot about with Riven is finding the best ways to take advantage of these reforges, because it wasn't just this absurdity as to where you can play 2 Riven swords in the same game with just no effort. And so you had to kind of make decisions between, am I discarding these Riven cards or am I going to build up to the sword? There was a lot of kind of play to, well, do I want to like rummage away one of my tokens knowing that I'm not going to be able to play a sword now? Or do I want to get the value of not having to discard real cards to my rummage? And so you would have things like that. And so we were always talking about, it's like, okay, well, you want to be, say, like drafting augment cards to take advantage of these, or you want to be drafting puffcap peddlers, or you want to be drafting rummages in the scrap heap deck. You had to, we always called it the and factor, right? You have Reforge and something else, and then they come together for a big synergy. But given the way there's all of these Riven archetypes in Expedition now, I don't think you really have to chase after that. I think you can more successfully just try to limit your opposing faction and then just get all of the Riven archetypes to show up in the draft. And that's what we were able to pull off here. I think it was around pick 7 or pick 9 as to where there just wasn't a Bilgewater pack, and we were offered 2 Riven packs and a Scion pack. And that is just absolutely beautiful having access to all of the Riven cards. And then there's still quite a bit of overlap in the Scion cards and what you're looking for as well. And so, yeah, in general, the what you're looking for your deck to kind of look like, you want as many cards with Reforge on them as you can. I should rephrase that. You want as many units on them with Reforge as you can. That's your Blade Squires, your Runeweavers, your Rivens. You want a handful of weapon hilts, but don't go out of your way to get them. You want to be this really aggressive deck to where you chunk in a bunch of damage in the early game, and then you need some late game stuff with Overwhelm to finish off the games. And so ideally, you're not going to play units like Wrathful Rider. You're not going to be playing these expensive, what was a Shipwreck Hoarder. You don't want these expensive cards that don't have Overwhelm, right? You want another great example would be the Trifarian, whatever this guy is, the Trifarian Shieldbreaker, the 6/5 Fearsome for 5 mana. You don't want these. You want cards with Overwhelm at your top end. And so that's why we're placing this big emphasis on things like Fallen Reckoner, Battering Ram, Savage Reckoner, Armored Elephant. Kato the Arm still counts. You have things like the Basilisk Rider in the Scion archetype. There's the 5/5 for 5 Overwhelm that if you discard it does something. Those are the ones you want. And so your early game Reforges, your late game Overwhelms. Pick up a sprinkling of removal if you can. This doesn't need to be a deck where you have like 4 Whirling Deaths, but you do want to have 2 or 3 or 4 kind of removal spells. Ideally, something will get anything, like either a Scorched Earth or a Noxan Guillotine. And then otherwise, you're happy to have just some of the kind of middling removal, as we call it, the not guaranteed removal spells, the spells that take some work, whether or not that is Whirling Death, Calling Strike, Death's Hand, whatever the 2 damage swaying card is. And after all that, you've got yourself at a pretty reasonable deck here. So yeah, not bad. Good little trial. I was going to say, I don't think we have any rewards today. I know we did finish off the event pass, and so we got to wait on the expansion to come out for a new weekly pass. We should have some more reward road when the new cards come out, and we'll have some more of those rewards for you reward lovers out there. But that is going to do it for us today. I hope everyone enjoyed the trial, maybe learned how to assemble the sword a little bit better, maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.